Hello and welcome back to G-senjou no Maou, which potentially could be the final episode, but I am not sure. Because, it doesn't feel like it's gonna end in the next hour, but I will see. I was suggested to stretch the last episode anyhow, so I will see how it went. If it gets super exciting now, well, it is actually exciting. Yusami just got captured. Kyosuke is captured in a basement. Fuck knows who. Well, actually we do know, but I just forgot the location again. And yeah, that's basically it, I think. And now we will see how they get out of that mess. BGM titled The Battle? Okay. The elevator shuttled silently upwards towards its destination. Inside, just as silently... Oh man, this music gets intense now. Okay, now I can see. Inside, just as silently, Maou watched Haru with crossed arms. Haru was similarly watching him, waiting for an opening to attack. If she would have a weapon, a concealed knife or anything to kill him fast, I would agree, but I don't think she has the means to kill him while he has a fucking bodyguard, which also is a mercenary. Maou was clearly getting a kick out of the situation. He had left Haru unrestrained and was now simply watching her. His grin seemed to scoff. If you've got something up your sleeve, show me. The elevator doors opened. Just beyond a dark, narrow passage, the fated rooftop awaited her.
Kyosukeも町に来ているのだろう?
Ooh, that's a nice show-off scene. And there's even a little bit of animation going on right there with the snowfall. Isn't it the first time there's actual animation within a picture? I think it's the first time. Kyosuke is here in Central Boulevard too, isn't he?
それがどうした?
What about it? An overcast sky loomed far above her. Nevertheless, outside is a fucking rainstorm, and I have to close my windows, otherwise everything gets underwater. Okay. An overcast sky loomed far above her. Nevertheless, the numerous lights on the street below shone with enough brilliance to pierce the thick clouds of smoke.
ここで京介と出会ったらしいが。
I hear this is where you met Kyosuke. Maou spoke as if ruminating on the distant past. He carried no weapons. He simply stood arrogantly before Haru.
何の真似だ、魔王?
What are you playing at, Maou?
お前の死に場所を演出したいと思って。
I was merely setting the proper stage for your death, he said with a smirk.
本来なら外角放水路で殺したいところだが、この封鎖状況ではかなわない。
I would have preferred the drainage channel, but all the entrances are tragically outside the currently barricaded area. Haru shot Maou an angry, defiant gaze. Maou continued on.
昔、京介とゲームをしてな。夜中まで遊んだものだ。ロールプレイングゲームとかいうジャンルらしい。
Long ago, I used to play these video games with Kyosuke. They were called role-playing games, apparently. Sometimes our sessions would continue late into the night.
それがなんだ?
What about it?
勇者と魔王が最後に戦うのが ちょうどここのように誘惑のある場所なのだ。
The final battle between the hero and the demon lord was always in some poignantly relevant place, much like this one. His eyes held a content distant gleam.
勇者は成長し、やがて魔王を倒すのだが、お前はどうかな。
The hero would grow stronger, then use his newfound power to destroy the evil demon lord. However, will you live up to those fairy tales?
私の10年は復讐が全てだった。対象は国家であったり、浅井権蔵であったり様々だが、憎悪の中心にいるのはいつも宇佐美だった。
For these past 10 years, revenge was my everything. Its objects included the nation itself, Adai Gonzo, and a variety of other concepts and people. But the centerpiece of my hatred has been and always will be Yusami.
それは私も同じことだ。お前が私の人生を狂わせた。
Likewise, Maou, you ruined my entire life.
私を殺すというのか。京介の兄である私を。
So you intend to kill me, even though I'm Kyosuke's brother? Ada's expression tensed as hesitation attacked her. Kyosuke pretty much gave his consent and said he wanted to help her with this, so she shouldn't have a bad conscience about this.
京介はかわいそうだと思わないか。あれは私を慕っていた。私が死ねばきっと少なからず悲しむことだろう。
Oh, come on, those mind tricks shouldn't work on her. Wouldn't you feel sorry for Kyosuke? He loved me quite dearly, you know. Imagine how devastated he would be if I died.
この後に及んで命乞いか。
Are you pleading for your life?
いいよ。
Not at all, he replied, shaking his head.
お前だって悪を犯そうとしていると教えてやりたかっただけだ。
I merely wanted to reassure you that your intentions are evil as well.
そんなことは分かっている。
I already know that. Mao's eyes flooded with enough hatred to nearly push them out of their sockets. Oh my, how is he looking? Like those in those animes where really the eyes almost popping out? Oh man.
宇佐美よ。どんな人間も最後まで自分の正しい世界に生きて死んでいくのだ。
Listen, Yusami. Every last man lives in a world where he's always righteous. Every last man will stay there until he rots in his grave. She knows that. Even as they speak, Haru's heart is ablaze in an attempt to justify her desire for Mao's destruction. Whenever one succumbs to violence, one turns to that beloved weakness known as justification. Whether the victim be a heavily armed terrorist or a helpless little girl, once a person has killed someone, he or she will always seek righteousness in the act.
人はいつまでも同じ感情を抱いてはいられないという。私も時にはお前を許そうなどと考えないでもなかった。親は親、子供は子供と当たり前の主張が両親に語りかける。
They say that humans are inherently fickle by nature, and that no emotion will last forever. Even I had moments during which I felt I should forgive you. The obvious notion that parents are parents and children are children nagged at my conscience. And that's something I brought up a few episodes earlier about inherited wrongs that parents did to the children. For example, when the parents are in debt and die before they can repay it, the children automatically get to put in their place and have to pay the debt, which is totally ludicrous. And this can be put into the same category. It's just totally dumb. Haru shared that particular experience. There had been sleepless nights in her life, nights where she considered releasing this asinine revenge in favor of a normal life.
結局は憎しみが勝った。父が言っていた。春という少女を殺さなければ、宇佐美に思い知らせてやれないと。
Wait, what? But in the end, hatred won out. My father once said that Yusami will never learn his lesson unless the girl Haru is killed. I thought he's already dead. Wasn't he already dead? How can he learn a lesson when he's already dead? Or did he survive? Did I miss something important? The girl Haru was drawn to speak up.
私も結局はお前を追うことをやめられなかった。バイオリンケースを開くたびに母の無念が蘇る。
I too was unable to give up my pursuit. Every day, every time I opened my violin case, I was reminded of my mother's regret. Maou nodded in understanding. It was the most profound nod thus far. Perhaps he was seeking some backward sort of reprieve. Just as he had hated Haru, he wanted Haru to hate him in return. In any case, Haru herself felt a twinge of relief upon hearing of Mao's hatred toward her. There was no rest for the wicked on this chain of revenge.
なあ、宇佐美。この世で最も長生きする感情は憎悪だと思わないか。だからこそ、何千年の昔から戦争が絶えないのだ。
Wouldn't you agree, Yusami, that hate of all emotions has the most viable longevity? Longevity? I know it seems it is a period of time. Longevity. Not longevity? Longevity, okay. As evidence, war has been omnipresent in the history of mankind. He's right about that one. People hate very easily and very long. I mean, I got this example. When you save a dog from drowning in a river and you get acknowledged by the family and by the other people, they will praise you for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but then they will soon forget. But if you would drown a puppy in the sea and people would get wind of it, they can hate you and despise you for ages, merely because it was not a positive but a negative action. And I think this is inherited by our ancestors' survival instinct, that negative effects and feelings have to last for our for safety reasons. If we know a dangerous person or a dangerous creature or a dangerous situation, we respond to it faster. This positive things don't have this impact for that very reason, it seems. So that is kind of sad that he's right about that. Haru didn't know whether she agreed or not.
もう一つくらいはある。
Well, I suppose there's one other. Maou grinned. He knew what Haru was going to say. Hatred was not the only thing ruling Haru's heart. She could say without any hesitation that the past 10 years have been divided between her love for Kyosuke and her hatred for Maou. I saw this coming as soon as I read this. And oh man, I can only say, personally at least, personal experience, that does unfortunately most of the time not apply. I had to experience that firsthand, and as long as I don't find this again and can actually prove it that it lasts a fucking long time, I'm drifting apart.
京介か。
Haru was shocked. For the first time, she saw something aching to warmth gleaming in Mao's eyes. If only for a brief moment, he returned to his role as a worrying older brother. It didn't take long, however, for Mao to regain his casual smirk.
安心しろ。お前を殺した後、京介もあの世に送ってやる。いつまでも二人仲良くやっているのに。
Oh, you wanna kill your brother now? Great. Now you kill your own family. Your revenge plot is so great. I get my father out of prison and take my revenge on Usami. And in the process, I've killed my brother. Perfect plan to get justice. Have I already read this? God damn it, I forgot. I think I haven't read this, and everyone who's only listening is severely confused now. There's no need to worry. After I kill you, I'll be sending Kyosuke to meet you shortly. You can remain together forever. It was a hackneyed speech? What a sad man, she thought. Samejima Kyohei was a man of extraordinary talent and initiative. Yet he had gone on to devote it entirely to a life of revenge. He would follow his own beliefs and stay true to his morality as the devil to the very end.
さて。
Alright. The grand finale! Oh, this is... what? BGM... okay. Mao pulled a gun from his suit.
私を殺しに来たというからには。 何かまた楽しい策を用意してきたんだろうな。
Since you said you've come to kill me, I trust you have another fun little trick prepared for me. He scraped the ground as he stepped forward. This is the remix. She took a step backwards to keep a proper distance. It was obvious that a head-to-head contest of physical strength would not be in her favor. What now? What does Haru have in this situation that can provide her victory over Maou? Hand-to-hand was out of the question, even though apparently she has a black belt or something similar to that. Or she was just lying about that? I don't know. She had no weapons. Perhaps there was something on the rooftop that could be used to distract Mao's attention. No, Maou would be extremely familiar with the entire building by now.
やはり首を絞めて殺すか。
I'd say that despite the lack of poetic locale, wringing your neck is still the way to go. Oh, great. Yes, the arrogance is Mao's greatest weakness. This arrogance, why did I read Sir? He could pull the trigger or call for his comrades at any time, yet he chooses to play with his adversary. Even so, it would still be difficult to escape the situation. Maou had cracked a tongue-in-cheek joke about setting the stage for her death, but the rooftop he brought her to was indeed a death trap with no escape. The bloodlust he exuded made it clear to Haru that this was no game. In contrast, Haru was completely unprepared. Haru was pressed backwards. Each step she took, Maou closed on her equally.
お前は高いところが得意だったようだな。
You're good with hates, aren't you? Haru had at last been cornered to the rooftop fence. She was unable to think of a means of counterattack. Urged on by gunpoint, she moved along the fence. Is this the end? Just then, she heard a roaring above her. It originated from a helicopter. It probably belonged to a news station. There were no signs that they had noticed the commotion, nor was there any guarantee that they would come save her if they did. Nevertheless, it was enough to distract Maou for a moment. He looked to the sky. Now! No, wait. It was an invitation. As if to confirm her suspicion, Maou spoke.
チャンスではなかったか
What's wrong? Wasn't that your big chance? Maou suddenly charged her. Haru searched for a means of escape. If they fought now, no one would be coming to save her this time. But the rooftop had no cover of any sort, and Maou was much faster than Haru. The only escape was the other side of the fence. A gust of wind tore across the rooftop. Haru just barely dodged Maou's grasp as she set foot on the edge of the rooftop. An air current from below pressed against her back.
まあ山王物産のビルから落ちて死ぬというのは悪くないかもしれんな
Well, I suppose falling to your death from the Sano building wouldn't be so bad either. Maou pointed the gun at her. His finger was on the trigger. The chill running down her back was not a result of the cold surge of air from the distant street below her. She gripped the fence tightly, but craned her neck around to look down. Haru felt that she had just discovered her last hope.
さらばあの世で母親に会うがいい
Could you run me by that one more time? Oh! Oh!
さらばだあの世で母親に会うがいい
Farewell. Say hello to your mother for me. Haru twisted around to avoid the bullet. Wow, we are going full Matrix now. The bullet Maou fired did not hit its mark. However, she tripped over herself. She was knocked into the air. Wait, how? This would be the second time she was in this situation. Last time when she was but a child, she was saved by a young boy. Kyosuke-kun. She frantically reached out, struggling desperately to grab onto something. All she found was snow. It melted fruitlessly in her hands. She screamed in a voice she could barely recognize as her own, praying for any possible help. Die! All other noise vanished from her ears. Haru was hit with the reality that she was falling. She looked at Maou. He was not laughing anymore. He stood with a solemn expression, like he was mourning the dead. Mourning. Haru's line of sight switched from Maou's face to the endless dark sky. Her extended right arm managed to nab the edge of the rooftop. One arm alone, though, was insufficient to support her weight. Okay, I guess now we cut back to Kyosuke and somehow he will save her, maybe? Or is this a sad ending? Or will this be a sad
異
ending?
常はなさそうだ
Wait, is he back in the building? Or is that a time jump? Looks like things are going smoothly. After seeing Yusami fall, oh, she fell. Oh, wait, what? Okay, it's no time jump. After seeing Yusami fall from the building, I came to check on the hostages. After all, we should be getting a call from the police soon. I take out my cell phone. I chose to use a cell phone for my negotiations with the police in order to make it harder for them to ascertain the location of the hostages. The police will know where I'm calling from. But for my last call, I was in the streets of the business district. For my next call, I will choose yet another different location.
そろそろ時間だな警視正
It's almost time, Mr. Superintendent.
ああ、そのことなんだが、実はまだ決定が降りてこないんだ。
Yeah, actually, it turns out that no decision has been reached yet.
それは残念だ。こちらの誠意が足りなかったようだ。
What a shame. I guess my sincerity wasn't enough to get through to you. I surveyed the room. None of the hostages seemed to show any signs of resistance. They were all slumped against the wall, looking gloomy. Well, no, not all. There were one who looked sprightly. He looked to be a young employee. He wore a bandage around his shoulder. His features seemed indicative of one that grew up in a nice environment, but his eyes spoke of a strong will and the intent to break through this dilemma. I see. He must be the one who saved those kids earlier.
そこで相談なんだが、
So, I was hoping we could talk this out. I have the feeling your beloved politician will die because Maou is no one to fuck around. And then, when he wreaks hell in the next city, maybe then you thought it was a bad decision to not do what he was asking.
言ったはずだ。時間の延長は一切認めない。
I believe I made it clear that there will be no extensions on time.
分かっている。けれど、君も分かっていたのではないか。
Yes, you did, but you know this works as well as I do, don't you? He's a pro, alright.
現実的に8時間というのは短すぎるとは思わないか。総理以下、関係閣僚を招集するだけでもかなりの時間がかかったらしい。その上、これほど重大な決定を下すにはどう考えても時間が足りない。
8 hours just isn't realistic. It took an extraordinary amount of time just to gather the Prime Minister and his cabinet, and you're asking them to hand down such a heavy decision in the remaining time? It's obviously impossible.
それで
And what would you have me do?
せめてあと5時間待ってもらえないだろうか。
Wait for another 5 hours.
5時間待つと何かいいことがあるのか
If I do, will something good happen?
それだけあれば決議は降りるというのが警察の見解だ。
It is the police's opinion that a decision will be reached within that time. I clicked my tongue.
ノロマは罪だと思わないか
Wouldn't you call that slothful lethargy a crime in and of itself?
待て、早まるな。
Wait, don't be too hasty.
今から人質の一人を殺す銃声をきちんと聞き届けるよう
I will now proceed to kill one hostage. I'll take care to ensure that you hear the gunfire.
落ち着け。人を殺して何になる。確かに我々は要求された時間に間に合わなかった。しかし君はプロだろ。
Just calm down, will you? What good will killing someone do? Yes, it's true that we couldn't meet your demands in the allotted time, but you're a pro, aren't you? Yep, and for that very reason he has to do it, because most amateurs fall for that and don't do anything to make their point clear, and then get captured most of the time. So yeah, he's indeed a pro and knows that it is easier if you actually pull through with what you threaten to do.
だったら
What about it?
せめてもう少し時間をくれ。少しの猶予が君の計画にそれほど支障をきたすのか。君はそんな甘い算段を持って我々に挑戦してきたのか。
Just give us a little more time. Is a little delay going to ruin your plan? Surely one such as you would not confront us with such flimsy management. No, he would just plan again for 5 to 10 years and bring the next town into bring the next town to hell. A magnificent negotiation trick. Appeal to the culprit's pride and force them to think objectively for a moment. Perhaps I really should have used Tokita Yuki to take her father out of the picture.
我々がプロであるからこそ時間には正確でありたいのだよ。
It is precisely because we are pros that we are punctual about time. I pointed my gun without hesitation. I pulled the trigger. A woman's brain splashed against the wall. The heavy atmosphere among the hostages grew a step heavier. The room was enveloped in screams. They were followed by yelling of the female employee's name, and finally wrapped up by subdued crying.
聞こえたかな?
Were you able to hear that? Superintendent Tokita was apparently too mortified to respond.
1時間後また連絡をもらおう。人質はあと10人はいる。言っている意味がわかるな。
Oh god, I really have to laugh about how evil he is and that he is actually pulling through. Oh man, sorry, I should have read this to actually understand my maniacal giggling. It wasn't very maniacally, I can do better, but whatever. Contact me again in 1 hour. There are 10 hostages left. Surely you get my drift. I will kill 1 hostage every hour. You don't need to point that out. I mean, if you can't get this, you're reading the wrong novels. I hung up the phone. Just then, someone yelled out at me.
Oi!
Oi! It was the young employee from before. I was curious about what he was going to contribute, but unfortunately...
次は俺をやれ。なぜか弱い女性を。
Kill me next! Why would you do that to a poor defenseless woman? He was filled with indignation, and there were tears in his eyes. I just returned a faint smile and left. Killing a courageous man like that has little effect. The most effective screams will always be the ones that come from a woman's lips. Oh, that sounds sexist, but there's so much sexism going on anyhow about all the stereotypical behaviors of men and women, and everyone gets offended about everything. So no matter what you say, you're always sexist or racist or whatever, because you're always referring to stereotypes. You almost can't say anything that is not impolitically correct, not sexist or not racist. You just can't try explaining why you think it is like that and that and that, but still someone will still call you racist, sexist, or political incorrectness. Ugh. Why am I even bringing this up? Makes no sense. In any case, let's continue. Naturally, the door Hashimoto used to leave was locked from the outside. I guess that means that I'm now locked up as a captive, how fitting for someone who is awaiting his public execution. But Yusami isn't dead yet, is she? Someone had confiscated the cell phone from my pocket. I can't call for help, and besides, Yusami and Eiichi are the ones who really need help right now. Think. Look about the room. The door is the only exit. There isn't even a ventilation shaft. No wonder the room is so murky. I hugged the wall as I head for some junk in the corner. A bunch of comics and porno mags were tossed around in a pile. Great. Nothing convenient like a rock drill or something to break through the wall. A loaded machine gun would have been great too. Now think, dammit. How do I get out of here? How do I escape and save Yusami and Eiichi? How can I get that door open? I scolded myself for getting chicken-hearted. I'm not a righteous superhero or anything like that. Looking back at the kind of life I led, can't expect to be saved by friends or anything of the sort. Now think. I'm the son of Azai Gonzo. My life may not have been decorated with good deeds or medals, but but I also wasn't so easy as to let some small fry like Hashimoto do me in. Gonzo would roll over in his grave if he could see how pathetic I was right now. The cremation of burial are today, after all. His soul is still in this world. Wait, cremation? I exploded in a grin. What's this, Gonzo? I make my escape a death-defying show just for you. It should provide some entertainment during your flight to hell. Wait, what? I gathered up the magazines and the wooden table in the center of the room. I arranged the items in a lattice pattern, tearing or breaking them up as needed. I used anything that seemed burnable. Then I lit the pile of paper with the lighter I found on the table. Now, burn! I gradually added tinder until the fire grew in force. The material was dry, so all I had to do was watch it burn. The flames popped and crackled. Wow, so you want to suffocate? Or burn alive, but I think you suffocate before you burn alive though. The first signs of black smoke began to coat the ceiling. However, having no place to go, the smoke started creeping back down to the floor. The temperature of the room rose at a dash, and I could feel the heat against my face. Black smoke gradually filled the room as it swirled about, searching for an exit. More. Burn, choke, thicken. And then, when the door opens, below out in a gust. I coughed at the oppressive offense to my lungs. Couldn't even keep my eyes open. The air was starting to thin out. As the force of the fire weakened, the smoke grew ever thicker. I crouched near the door. I beat at the door furiously as I fought for every breath. Oh, okay. Hashimoto said that Eiichi is being held on the floor above this one. That naturally implies that there's a guard or two up there. They'll come rushing in to see what all the fuss is about. And the second that door's open, I'll slaughter the lot of them. Continue to pound. I strained against the door to listen for footsteps. There was no one coming. Why? Water started pouring from my shut eyes. Get the hell over here! Why aren't they coming to see what's wrong? I beat the door with all my strength. My fear manifested as sweat rolling down my back. What if there's no one out there? What a comedic way to die. The fire behind me was waning, and the crackling started to weaken and die down. I put my face to the bottom of the door in order to get at the bit of air seeping through. I can't afford to stop pounding my right arm. As to stop pounding, but my right arm won't move the way I want it to. I almost black out a few times. I can't give up. If I were to die here, I made a fist to tight my fingernails dug into my skin. Wait, what? Oh, I made a fist so tight my fingernails dug into. Okay. What would happen to you, Sami? For what reason would Azai Gonzo have died? Dead. That's right. He died protecting me, Dad. Well, stepdad, but still. I don't give a shit whether that's true or not. I'd be damned if I'm going to join you just yet. My body covered in smoke. Whoops. Refused to continue operation, but my will adamantly refused to die. I wasn't even myself anymore. I had just become an animal, desperately beating at the door. I had to teach them a lesson. I had to teach them that pissing on me means pissing on Azai Gonzo. I burned with hatred to fuel my anger. My memory was starting to get fuzzy. That was when I first realized the fresh air coming through my nose. My brain cells suddenly reactivated. My consciousness became clear. It felt like my body belonged to someone else. The white hand I was using to beat the door was now beating against air. Smoke billowed out in gusts. The door was gone. It was finally open. I heard the jumble of footsteps. Met with fresh oxygen, the fire revived with crackling sparks. I prepared to pounce. I heard a flurry of shouting. Water! Put it out! It was the chirping of my prey. After standing up and checking the direction of the smoke, I subdued my reason. It had no place in the actions that would follow. I charged with all my strength. I saw 1, 2 hyenas. They flinched at the sight of me. I swung my arm and sank my fist into their faces. I then dashed to the side of them, not even waiting for a scream. I made a beeline for the stairs. The kid who tried to grab my arm from behind was met with a sharp overhead kick. A dull throbbing grazed my arms and legs on multiple occasions. Each time it did so, a scream accompanied it. I'm not particularly strong. These boys' resolves were just particularly weak. Brutality is the very element of a wounded beast. Once again, dark smoke ran along the ceiling in search of an exit. But this time, I chased after it. I raced the smoke to the first floor. I bumped into someone and it turned into a struggle.
お前
It's interesting how they never show his eyes. They never show Kyosuke's eyes. Is this an attempt to make us feel like we would be him? Because he's the protagonist and as soon as he has eyes, we can't project ourselves onto him anymore? Could that be the reason? You! My body instantly reacted to his voice. The air in my lungs fueled my burning hatred. Unabated coughs, unabated tears, unabated groans leaked out of us. The ceiling and the floor twisted and blurred. Headache, nausea, upset stomach, lack of oxygen. Burns on my throat, burns on my organs, chills, fever, infection, internal bleeding. My body used delirium to beg me for mercy as I infringed upon the small fry before me. If you want to kill me, then go ahead and try it! I'm not sure how many times I hit Hashimoto after that. But one thing is certain, to the bitter end, the one motivating force of mankind is and always will be anger. To the bitter end, the one motivating force of it is and always will be anger. I can't really deny it. If you are angry at something, the motivation for that really is hard to turn back on. Okay, there we go. Chapter 5 still. But this got pretty, wow. Her body, oh, she survived. Wait, how did she survive? Her body stung all over. Even attempting to move was enough to make her bones ache. Something chilly brushed against her face. Snow. It was snowing. Something chilly brushed against her face, and she felt it. It means she's still alive. Haru looked up at the sky. Okay, I really want to know the bullshit reason why she survived that, other than plot armor and being a protagonist. It still bore the deep darkness of night. The pain in her elbows are particularly strong. She would likely develop a nasty bruise there. Haru realized that she had fallen unconscious. But why was she even alive? She knew for a fact that she fell from the roof. Perhaps she recalled the moment of her fall. When she glanced behind her at the edge of the roof, she saw a ray of hope. She remembered thinking that if she jumped toward it, she might be saved. Haru was now dangling in midair. Wait, are you serious? You landed in that thing? How? How could you survive that? I mean, how close was it? I mean, you hit your head hard enough to get unconscious, but you don't have a trauma from it? You don't have an open head wound? And you still look gorgeous as ever? You have to be kidding me. She had avoided being splattered on the street by landing on a window washing platform. It was suspended no farther than 15 feet from the rooftop. Apparently, she had also somehow managed to land on her feet. Because plots! Well, she always had been good with heights. But how did she land on her feet and then pass out? How did she pass out after landing on her feet? She felt unconscious, but she landed on her feet and still passed out. How? Haru took a deep breath. Each heavy gust of wind struck fear into her heart. Just calm down, she told herself. The cable suspending the platform seemed to be quite strong. As long as she didn't panic, she was in no danger of falling. But still, how the hell am I supposed to get down from here? Angel of Death BGM, okay. Good question. How the hell? And just where do you plan on taking us? Mr. Somaya asked softly, despite the gun at his back.
これから皆で大型バスに乗っていただきます。当然、今川先生も一緒です。
We are all going to be boarding a bus. That includes Mr. Imagawa, of course.
観光気分ではないのだがね。
I am not exactly in the mood to go sightseeing. Wow, why am I lisping?
ご安心を。10分もすれば目的地に到着します。
Oh, there's no need to worry. It'll only take about 10 minutes to reach our destination. And that destination will be your new confinement area. It would be dangerous to keep the hostages in the same location the entire time. Seeing as the incident began at the Sanoo building, the police will have done their homework on it. That likely wouldn't even be necessary, as they should be familiar with Imagawa's schedule for the day. Naturally, they have their sights set here first. If they airdropped a few commandos on the rooftop, we wouldn't come out of it unscathed.
それぐらいの距離なら歩いても行ける。
I'll be just fine on foot if it's not farther than the bounds of your little war zone here. Imagawa was still white as rain.
さすがは CO2 削減を標榜している先生ですな。しかし、外にはボートが充満しておりましてね。私の命令も聞かない血気盛んな若者がいるかもしれませんが、それでもよろしいですか？
Oh, Mr. Imagawa, that's a totally different voice. Fuck. Yes, I would expect nothing less from a man who champions CO2 emissions legislation. However, there happens to be an angry mob out there, you see? And there might be a kid or two among them who's too blood-starved to follow my orders. Still feel like walking? It's not a lie, as the rioting out there was never really any of my concern. All I did was order them to play to their heart's content. I wouldn't even be able to guarantee my own safety out there. For all I knew, I'd be shot dead by some kid on crack cocaine. Isn't crack and cocaine the same thing?
お分かりですね。では、出発しましょう。
You understand my point, I take it? Very well then, let's set off. How convenient that they changed position.
京介おい京介
My fists hurt.
京介ったら
Come on, Kyosuke! Heavy, irritated breathing bothered my ear. Huh? Oh, Ichi. You okay?
無事じゃねえけどな。なんつうの、満身創痍ってやつ。
Well, I wouldn't exactly say okay. I got pretty messed up back there. Where's everyone else?
みんな逃げたよ。火事だから。
They ran off because of the fire. I smelled something burning. Fire? Oh yeah. I did that, didn't I? I had Hashimoto pinned down to the ground. He was moaning and his face was swollen. Something awful. After the adrenaline rush wore off, my entire body started screaming. I had lost nearly all sensation in the arm. I used to pummel Hashimoto.
おい、京介。逃げるぞ。
Come on, Kyosuke. Let's get the hell out of here. Eiichi stood beside me in tatters.
奴らがまた現れる前に散らかろうぜ。
We need to make like a banana before those guys get back. What? How does a banana do? We have to slip away like a banana before those guys get back? Or... what? His legs were wobbly. He must have taken quite the beating. Yeah, Hashimoto said there's a way out through this club.
あ、そうだよ。だから急げっての、火に巻かれるぞ。
Yeah, right. So, let's get the fuck out of here. You don't want to be burnt alive, do you? You wouldn't happen to know where my cell phone is, would you?
ん？えーた？知らねえよ。んなもんまた買えよ。ボンボンだろ。
What? Cell phone? Who gives a crap, man? You can't just buy another one. You're goddamn rich enough. Can't understand why Eiichi is so worked up. The conflagration downstairs had already spread to this floor.
急げよ。出られなくなっちまうぞ。
So, get up, asswipe! If we daddle around, we'll get trapped in here! Guess the police won't be able to use this route either if the building goes up in flames. Give me your cell phone.
俺もねえよ。こいつらに取られちまった。
I don't have one either! They took mine too! Guess I just grabbed one from Hashimoto then.
もう京介。なんだよてめえ。
What the fuck, Kyosuke? Dude, we don't have time to dick around! Yusami's number is 090. Perfect. I hate myself for how well I remembered it. Come on! She is your girlfriend at this point! You banged her 3 times and you still are upset about her? And you still say she's disgusting while being totally beautiful and have this long flowing hair? Ugh.
ちょっと落ち着けて。いや、お前の考えてることは俺にはわかるです、さすがに。
Come on, man. Just come down and think this over. I know you, man. I know what it is you're planning. Yeah, he has stuck with me a lot. God knows why.
むっちゃすんなって。こいつらみんな狂ってんだぞ。つうかおめえ、俺以上にボロボロじゃねえか。
Don't be a dumbass. These guys are all nuts. Besides, you look like you're in even worse shape than I am. Apparently, I really truly... What? Yusami?
あ、繋がった。
Oh, it works. Huh?
自分携帯電話とか持つの初めてでして。あ、なんだかドキドキしますね。マイ携帯は。
Look, I never owned a cell phone before. It feels like my heart's been racing ever since I first held my very own cell. What?
ああ、特に用事はないです。繋がるかなとドキドキしたかっただけです。
Oh, I didn't need anything. Just thought I called to let you know how nervous I was, waiting with bated breath to see whether or not my call would get through.
ですから、ちょっとだけでよろしいんですがね。
I'd be happy to make do with just a tiny bit of your time. I don't know. That morning, maybe? If we went to the shrine around 4 or 5, it might work out.
決まりですね。
Then it's decided. Wait, what's decided?
要は、私を選べってことです。
The point is, choose me. Or 4, just get out of here. Huh?
はい。
Where's the outfit?
してるじゃないですか。
I'm wearing it right now. That's a jogging suit.
おめかしじゃないですか。
It's an outfit. To my father in prison. I'm sorry. Even though she's the daughter of your enemy, Wait, what? To my father in prison. Even though she's the daughter of your enemy, The road to glory! Eichi, you go and get out of here. Now that I just pointing it out, now he has fucking eyes! The man has eyes! The protagonist has eyes in his face! They suspended us from letting us seeing his eyes until this very moment to let him realize that he has emotions and a soul. I think he finally realized how much he loves this girl! Come on! No, show me that! God damn it! I hope this is only an assumption, but I hope this is the moment, man. I reach into Hashimoto's breast pocket as he lay unconscious. I feel something hard and rectangular. Alright, found his cell phone. Oh, the music! The air guitar. Come on, Kyosuke! What's gotten into you? I don't get you, bro. Safety is right over there. Don't you see that? Yep. Just leave this to the police. This ain't something that kids like us can do anything about. You're probably right. But the police are caught in one of Mao's trademark stalemates right now. Is it the woman? Is she that important to you? That's not it. Wait, what? Don't tell me I got excited for nothing here, man. Alright, fine. I get it. I'm coming with you. No thanks. You're useless. You'll only slow me down. Ended up overstating it a bit. Sorry, I meant to say that you should get out of there and go straight to the police. They'll be dying to get any information about what's going on in here. Yeah, but just shut up and get going already. There was a familiar gun laying on the ground. Presumably it was the one Hashimoto had been carrying. I picked it up and pointed it at Eichi. Whatever you got, bro. It's terminal. Sorry, man. Yeah, whatever. Terminal... having a terminal illness means it can't be cured. I think? Is that the right meaning? I think it is. Yeah, he's terminally in love. Hopefully. The power of... Okay, no, I'm more singing now. He spoke solemnly. I'm looking forward to our next club meeting, God. Eichi went to the door. I should get out of here too before I become smoked meat. You're still alive! Hashimoto was coming too. I smack him across the cheek. You little... You should probably get the hell out of here if you don't want to die. Forcing my protesting body back up to my feet, I dash outside. Haru heard the sound of an engine from the distant streets below. It looked like it could be a bus. The large vehicle's cabin lights were on, and it sat idling in front of the Sano building. The lights betrayed the silhouettes of nearby people as they boarded the bus in a line. Those must be the hostages. She should make sure to note where this bus driver drives off to. Her cell phone suddenly rang. The surprise almost made her slip and fall. How can you fall when when the cage is not that high, but maybe that high? I don't know. The platform shook in protest. She was overcome with emotion over his familiar voice. Her eyes began to tear up. He asked if she was alright. I was just about to ask you that. What's up with the weird number you're calling from? He told her not to worry about it. Where are you right now? He asked in a deep voice. It's kind of hard to explain, but... Haru briefed Kyosuke on the current situation. She told him about falling from the roof and how she had survived by jumping to a window-cleaning gondola, passing out, getting back to conscious, somehow while landing on her feet. And she has not broken anything. She also made sure to add that the gondola was now a bit shaky. I've been trying to break the glass for a while now, but I don't think I'm strong enough. He responded with a brief question. Which floor? Probably somewhere around the 47th and 48th floor. Got it. His voice left her again after one last short statement. Just sit tight. She found herself dumbstruck by the time the call ended. Don't tell me he's coming to rescue me. Oh, duh! Why wouldn't he? Just then, the platform shook violently. One of the cables supporting it made a nasty groan. Oh, first you say it's super stable, and now it's getting unstable all of a sudden. Of course! Plot convenient. And she will be there just in the nick of time to get her out of there. It must be the result of the impact from Haru's fall. Of course. A great fuck in the background. I made my way along the streets to the Sano building. I drove my battered body forward, one step at a time. My right hand held Hashimoto's unwieldy gun. Unlike him though, I had a bit of experience with firearms. As long as I was within point-blank range, I'm confident I wouldn't make the critical mistakes he did. Central Boulevard was enveloped in silence. I guess everyone had finally gotten tired of rioting. There were quite a few survivors here and there. A woman peeking out of an upper story window immediately closed the curtain upon meeting my eyes. I guess that sums up my appearance at the moment. Oh shit. Well, if it ain't the young master. A number of men suddenly appeared from a dark alley. They were Yakuza from the Sonoyama group. Well, the office is located on Central Boulevard, so I suppose it shouldn't come as a surprise that they get wrapped up in this. Good to see you're safe. They wore an assortment of different weapons and apparel. Among them was a shirtless man holding a sword, and a man in a suit with sunglasses and a gun. You too, son. Quite the mess we got ourselves into, yeah? Even Oribe was unique in a sense, retaining his usual smile in the face of this situation.
自分らも今まではやられる一方だったんですがね、さすがにガキは寝る時間じゃないですか。そろそろ反撃に出ようかと思ってたところなんです。
Let me tell ya, they kept us on the defensive the whole damn time. But now I guess it's bedtime for the little brats. We figured it was a good time as any to discipline them all a little. I see.
何せ親衛隊のゴミどもまでガキに加担してるって話じゃないですか。ったく親父が許してやった恩を忘れてくれちゃったな。
The fact that I hear those shits from Shinea and cahoots with the brats just pisses me off more. The wizards must have forgotten the boss mercy back when he found it in himself to forgive them. He had a cool smile on his face. I somehow doubt that Oribe is capable of death. Looks like we won't be making it to Dad's funeral.
そこですわ。親父の死に目に会えなかったばかりか、葬式にも顔を出せねえとっては末代までの恥ってやつですよね。
Tell me about it. First I miss his death, and now I miss the funeral. I never lived this shame down, not for the rest of my life. I shook my head. Asai Gonzo doesn't need some formal funeral. The look in Olive's eyes changed. He's probably pissed off right about now. In fact, I know he is. The beast is wailing in anger. Can you hear him? I don't need a goddamn funeral. Just get out there and slaughter all who would oppose me. Well, Oribe? Can you hear him? Oribe looked at me appraisingly for a moment, then opened the way. Continued my march onwards. Can't they come with...
どうしたんです？
Can't they come with him and help him? I mean... No? What's wrong, boss?
いけねえいけねえ。この堀部ついぶるっちまって。
Well, damn. The kid had me quaking in my boots there for a second.
はい？
But why?
一瞬親父が地獄から帰ってきたかと思ったぜ。ありゃやっぱ怪物の息子よ。
I could have sworn the boss really had come back from hell. That boy is the beast's son, alright. I made my way through the quiet streets of Central Boulevard. My cough continued unabated. Pain coursed through my entire body again. And nausea and chills threatened to bring my feet to a halt. I staggered unsteadily through the night. There was a boy sleeping at the side of the road. After he awoke and slowly came to his feet, his eyes first went to my face, then to the gun I was holding. And then he moved off the road. I spotted a few groups of people on foot, and a few people on bikes or motorcycles that seemed to be on lookout. None of them tried to stop me, presumably because I never tried to hide or run away. Cars would come to a stop, but soon continue on their way. Mobs on the street would send me glares, but then just pucker up their brows in disgust. Covered in soot, dirt and blood, no one stood in my way. The ground shook before my eyes. The light seemed to dance and warp in the air. I just continued forward. I was still a long ways away from losing consciousness. Some passion drove me on towards Sano HQ. I had no idea whether it was love or hatred. How can you not know what of the two? Do you hate it to save her? Or do you love it to save her? I mean, I know that you can have serious hate boners, but come on! I merely prayed to the devil that what little strength I had left wouldn't leave me. At least not until I get there. One of the 4 cables supporting the platform had snapped. Oh yeah, there. This cable snapped. After a jarring metallic sound, the platform inclined at the slant. The tilt gradually worsened as time passed. The bolt fastening the cable closest to the building was beginning to come loose as well. She tried to jam it back in, but without the proper tools, there was nothing she could do. If a second cable snaps, it's all over. The gondola swayed about in the air, like a swing, and the footing became precarious. Haru beat against the window pane. She put as much strength into it as possible without losing her footing. Regretfully, the glass was unaffected. Were there any tools she could use to break through the thick glass? Something hard or sharp? No, there was nothing. Haru almost fell off the platform in panic. The knowledge that the more panicked she became, the more the platform would shake did nothing to stop her trembling legs. Well, understandable. She faced death. She is facing death 2 times now. I made it. I looked up at the skyscraper. The sky was dark and I could not spot the platform Usami spoke of. Wait a second. This is rather odd. Weren't the hostages being kept in this building? It should mean the terrorists are holed up in there too. But despite that, it almost felt like a ghost building. Well, convenient that they moved to a different location altogether. At any rate, this isn't the time for hesitation. I need to get inside. The only thing roaming the entrance was silence. I dragged my feet along the floor, searching for an elevator. Is there really no one here? I suddenly stilled my breath and came to a halt. I could see the outlines of a person under the emergency lighting, standing out in the darkness. He held a large black gun at the ready. Wait, what? Oh! He was speaking to the darkness in English. I hid behind a large pillar and assessed the situation. The man was planted in front of the elevator hall of all places. He stood straight up at attention without moving an inch. A minute passed with no change in the situation. What should I do? Should I launch an attack? No, that would be entirely in vain. Judging from his posture and equipment, he's a pro. Maybe I could distract him. Could use the old throw a stone and wait for him to check it out, then make a break for the goal. That only works in video games, I think. No, I'm not sure how many elevators there are, but there's no guarantee that one would conveniently be stopped at the first floor. I can't even be sure that they are running at all. So, does that mean I just wait until he leaves? It seems to be the smartest move. It seems like the terrorists have abandoned the space, though I couldn't tell you why. As long as I wait patiently, he's bound to rendezvous with his comrades at some point. Then again, the light indicating the emergency exit right to my left was illuminated. A stupid idea crossed my mind. I caught a glimpse of the handrail to a staircase just beyond the emergency exit door. It really was an incredibly splendid stupid idea. My entire body was just aching, screaming at me to go on instead of just stay still. Usami could be anxiously awaiting my help as I sit here. And the more I sit, the more my strength leaves me. Resting makes me want to fall asleep. And on the other hand, moving forward fills me with energy. Yes, that's the way it should be. Someone howls into my ear. And I got a text message. Finding something reassuring in that evidence, I head toward the bright emergency exit sign. Of course! I can just take the stairs to the 47th floor. Yeah, sure. Oh no, don't call her. Oh, he called her. Hello? Is that you, Azai? Unable to contain herself, Haru dialed him on her cell phone. Oh man, you could have brought big trouble onto him by doing that. What is it? He bluntly replied.
今どちらです？
I'm in a bit of a pickle. Where are you right now? Inside the building. She could feel the ground shaking beneath her.
ちょっと正気ですか？テロリストが立てこもっているんですよ。
What? Are you crazy? The terrorists are holding themselves up in there. If they are, then they are mighty understaffed at the moment. That's right. She had just seen a bus loading the hostages a short while ago. Thus, there's no reason to guard this building anymore. If she just waits a little longer, help will arrive.
エレベーター動いてるんですね。
So, are the elevators working? Beats me. Are they not operating? Come to think of it, she recalled seeing all the lights in the building suddenly turn on. It's also possible that they left a lookout here as she was pondering the possibilities. Kyosuke spoke up in a deep voice. Are you alright?
いや、ですね。
Oh,
ワイヤーが一本切れまして。
well, one of the cables snapped. Just then, her ear was blasted by a clattering sound from her phone. It was soon accompanied by the rattle of the wind.
どうしました？
What happened? She heard a groan. Oddly enough, what immediately followed was a calm response. So, you could fall any minute. Yeah. Haru was completely in the dark about Asai Kyosuke's current situation. She was overcome with anxiety. Do you know which side of the building you are on?
おそらく西側ではないかと。大手百貨店のデパートがある方角です。
I would say the west one. It's the side facing that big department store. That was the most she could say. Kyosuke paused for a moment before voicing confirmation. He followed it up with a deep voice. I'll be there in 10. She could guess that Kyosuke was injured. But what was sparking all that bravado?
まさか、安泰さん。
Don't tell me. The call ended. The only sound now was the whistling of the wind.
まさか。
He's not planning on climbing the stairs all the way from the first floor, is he? Haru didn't understand. He was supposed to be a cleverer man than that. And he had never once uttered a word about loving Haru. Why? Nevertheless, her chest was ablaze with warmth from the notion. Oh, thank you! Even the most cruel and the most serious visual novels have always the super dense protagonists who are not sure about their real and true feelings until the very end. Some tropes really die hard, don't they? Some tropes of visual novel really died hard. Dense protagonists and... oh man. It warms from the notion. Oh, it's so cute! Oh my god, he looks... and now we can't see his eyes again. I stepped through the darkness. The emergency light served as my only beacon. I climbed the stairs one by one. I forced my leaden feet into action. My consciousness seemed to drift into a state between waking and sleeping. But despite this twilight state, there was still one thing I had control over. It was almost like a special consciousness, one that had been stored away for emergencies. It urged me repeatedly upwards and onwards. Rather, it didn't urge me. It seemed more to pull me along, as if it were a separate entity. But regardless, whether it urged or pulled, it was commanding that I move as fast as possible. How do you think you make it in 10 minutes from the first floor to the 47th floor? There wasn't much time left. I've lost count of how many times I've had to peel my soles off the ground against gravity's heavy toll. My thighs are probably swollen like a balloon. Passing areas that look identical to each other over and over only serve to aggravate my dizziness. I focus all strength into my legs as I fight off the nausea. I think I've cleared 10 floors. Just 10. I need to repeat what I've done nearly 4 more times. God, it's like I lost a bet or something. Damn you, Yusami! Why do you make me love you? If I had just never reunited with her. Multiple times now I have nearly tripped over my own feet and tumbled down the stairs. I lean against the wall and almost pass out then and there. This is more than just drowsiness. This is a distilled darkness trying to envelop my entire head. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a number written on the wall. 26. Ugh! I'm still just on the 26th floor. I couldn't hold back my groans as they pierced the darkness. My teeth shattered from the harsh chills. Still, I hadn't been brought to my knees just yet. Even if it was just barely, I was still standing. I don't need anyone's help. Setting my sights on the staircase, landing above me, I set out once more. The tilt grew steeper, its shifts heralded by the creaking of twisted metal. How much longer would it hold up? The tension cooperating with that terrifying force of gravity had pulled sweat across Haru's face. The fear that any subtle movement could upset the balance of the gondola, however, erased any thoughts of wiping it away. She simply stood and watched the window, picturing the moment that he would show up on the other side. Think, is there anything she can do in this situation? Sometimes Haru doubted whether or not she even had the right to be loved by Kyosuke. Has he really forgiven her? After all, the one who brought his life and family to ruin was her very own father. What your father did has nothing to do with you! Was it acceptable for her to just sit in fear awaiting her prince like some damsel in distress? Haru calmly looked over at the cable that was on the verge of snapping off. What would happen if it snapped? The horizontal footing would become vertical. The platform's main face would be unusable, leaving only... Haru carefully made her way to the front of the platform, then placed the foot upon the bar that housed the cable mounts. She didn't know if there would be any point to it. If it came down to just the two cables, the platform wouldn't last much longer anyway. It would only delay the inevitable. No, he said he'd be here in 10 minutes. She had to believe in him. Haru took a deep breath and decided to wait for her savior. Well, not that she had any other choice. Oh no, now he's to his knees! What floor am I now, I wonder? God knows how many steps I've gone up by now. The steps, even the flat landing, seem to twist and rip. It's hot. I feel like I'm burning alive. An incessant wheezing is coming from my lungs and throat. What am I still lazing around here for? Hurry! Move! Step up! Forward! Damn the soles of my shoes! They refuse to leave the ground as if they are glued there. My side is met with a stabbing pain whenever I try to breathe. I'm alone. Alone in an artificial construct with no lights and stagnant air. Not even moonlight is permitted to shine in here. But hey, that's what you get when your god is fickle and worthless. Good thing I'm not asking for his help. Solitude makes a person stronger. Does it though? Does it really? And if a woman you must protect lies at the end of that solitude, all the better. I can agree on that at least. If you think you can stop me, go ahead and try. There's no room for heaven on this wayward soul's stairway to glory. The howl of a beast tore at my eardrums. It was my voice. What's holding you back? It was Azai Godzu's voice. The turbid tide of my consciousness forced me to mistake my own voice. The monster of fear that had pervaded my entire being roared out. I have the feeling I clipped the microphone with that, but I don't give a fuck. Move forward. Shoulder the karma of your mother who died squashed like a worm. Bear the sadness of your brother who went mad with revenge. And go forth to your enemy's daughter. My head bumped into something. It was a hard wall of iron. Oh, I knew it! I didn't want it to say anything to not be a bummer, but aren't the fire shutters down just at that floor? Didn't they put it down at that very floor? I tried pushing against it, but it didn't budge an inch. I wanted to say, aren't the fire shutters still down? And here we are, and they are. My fingers started to twitch. My chest was scorched by an inferno of vexation. I looked up at the wall. 46th floor was painted on it. It was a fire shutter. The thick wall that had once saved us now served as an obstacle blocking my path. Clenching my teeth, I rose to my feet. Could something this stupid really be happening? It's just a little further. There are only 1 or 2 floors to go. There must be some other way to the upper floors. Dragging along my beaten legs and spirit, I searched the 46th floor. I walked like the dead. It's kinda late, but maybe I should just use the elevator. The terrorists might be gone now. No. Once I got in front of the elevator, I realized something. It's still in operation. There'd be no need to guard an elevator that doesn't work. That means there might still be armed men on the 1st floor. If I call the elevator to this floor, they'll no doubt find it suspicious and come to check it out. I need to find another way. Like a freight elevator or a dumb waiter or something like that. Like a ventilation shaft being enough for a person to fit through. Like anything at all. Like some hidden secret passage. Or a hole that the terrorist blew in the floor. Is there anything at all to get me started? Search. It's already well past the 10 minutes I promised. Will I be breaking yet another promise? Yusami. I bet she's placed her faith in me even now. And yet God damn it! Damn it! I missed my one opportunity to end the episode. This is probably the end of the episode, depending what the next session will be. But if this is not longer and you watch the timeline and it is indeed longer, then I just suit it together. But for now I shall say, I hope you enjoyed it so far. Share my channel with one of your friends if you think I'm cool enough to be checked out. And I will hopefully see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.